Final messages. All right. You have the Two of Guidons, the Six of Guidons, and the Three of Cups. It's the actual compatible meeting of the beliefs, the joining of the beliefs as two guidons to accept that an individual can actually travel with one another and get through a properly digested and in peaceful moment of metabolism to provide nourishment without quarrel is great. Therefore, to have the actual oil of a person's identity in the air and the water absorption, Three of Cups, protected, is a celebration that clarified by the High Priestess in reverse. The High Priestess in reverse only has an applause as the measurement of approach. It's not the court. Because to see out the actual turn, is to accept that there is no interruption to measure. It's just greatness of conquering to applaud and moving forward. The greatest way to keep together an uninterrupted greatness would actually be the looking forward to adding intervals of meal prep to actually look forward to having food and nutrients to encourage an individual to include in their day-to-day. I was just looking for the word include for about 5-6 seconds, but it's just the encouragement that there is an individual that a person loves, supporting the utility of the actual mind in a brilliant fashion, in a brilliant way, in a brilliant focus before fashion, before an ion that is fastly utilized. It's actually an impression that is of encouragement. And having that removing gossip and creating an actual understanding that in directions of downward movement or actual doing outside of in different movements measured without a number to stop at is the actual calculation of individuals not to trust and the expected exponential of problems that a person would prefer you to conquer instead of them. So therefore, it's not even about a judgment of gossip. It's just an avoidance of God per household calculated by the distribution of whatever energy that a stranger defined by ion. So to avoid strangers by having somebody that, or having an individual that you actually protect, love, know, honor, and improve for, Even though everybody say, do it for you, that's what I just described as the do it for you. And it's the doing away with individuals that could interrupt or be invited to, throughout time interval of just first century of life, first century energy of a different root. And I have healthy roots that have alkaline and protons balance without just ordinance or the corruption of ordinance, then that would be the measurement of knowing that you are healed and untouched. Because there's topics that separate contact, there's no encouragement that separates contact, there's gossip that separates contact, there's do's and don'ts that each individual has to sit and rise for, or sit and go for as a decision that most individuals don't even calculate or include the individual that is conquering the anxiety as even knowing that it's people that even thinks of that. So that's just the intensity of an unnecessary mindset that approaches individuals of peaceful and righteousness as their only identity. So it's having a different, that's the difference of belief. And having that as that infrastructure there, it's having that opportunity to say, even if the visual or the appearance is frequent different, the appreciation and the love is there without contest, without interruption, without rudeness, without problems multiplied by several individuals trying out for something that God only made as the only healthy product before being seen as tauntable by merchandise. It's the actual true effort of an amalgamated individual that no person on this earth can interrupt, no circumstance. And the confirmed encouragement is there. And that's what keeps the current of that connection going. So it's just saying thank you. And looking forward to saying thank you in several different greatnesses of peaceful delivery. And knowing that even from a distance or not, that protection and safety measure of belief is utilized to separate 7.5 billion individuals that could not support that on that day, or provide encouragement without forgetting that of the five of guidons, 5 of pentacles, 5 of cups, and thoughts. The 5 of thoughts would be knowing the individuals that do support, and don't look for a number beyond 5, and also beyond one person in movement of individuals that support to move towards your goal being protected. So that is how you see it. You don't see a 3 as a 3, you see it as an M. But to only represent movement, not names. So it would be just the measurement of existence And with the joined individual, that's how you calculate the one-by-one approach of humanity, each towards the actual individuals that's non-subtractable. And that's how you calculate an addition. So it's actually protecting and accepting that the healthy silence is available without being required. It exists without threat because of the energy utilized to encourage as opposed to provision. To actually have to conquer individuals that approach to find the applause that they hurdled over, and it should have been given from another individual, and interrupt or attempt to interrupt individuals that believe differently or exist differently or exist without the need for their the hard retrograde of interruption. To only talk to encourage a person backward, not forward towards their goal. Well, that's by default. Nor is it tolerable. And as an individual that supports individuals being joined together without interruption, well, that's when you treat people with dignity and respect, because you don't know who they're going to actually become and exist as. So there is no violence, there is no threat. Everybody who has somebody to say that they have a person to live for or go home to and love, it's worth celebrating and protecting. And individuals that don't have that divine emotional greatness to protect as a measurement to accept another individual, is going to actually appear in a greater way once the understanding of emotional greatness is there as an energy to attach to. It's having that opportunity to brace or to be of that same reason to actually succeed in living as opposed to any other energy. And speaking from as a former chaplain and studier of different documents of legions to rely on regularly in ligaments of ions of necessary energy, providing the opportunity to understand greater is he who is in me than he who is in the world, just means it's greater for individuals to honestly love and build a true defeating of 500 out of every 7.5 billion at the interval of a 500th breath. That a problem is there. Is it conquerable or is it divisible of the two that God didn't intend to have separated? So that is people that have good companionship and without walking one another towards insurance to see each other leave the earth and see it as a race amongst one another. Greater is the individuals that actually have physical movements to applaud their love, stay in love, show that their minds of brilliance create and build what no other person can tear down. And upon that agreement, the actual upward movement of energy, non-tear-downable or removable or taunable or torturable, is celebrated through different by avoiding celebrating pain, drama, and setback, ignoring tantrums.